Hey everybody, it's your old friend Tommy here. It's been a while, I know, but here we are again at Cheftovers, and I'm hoping to bring you a really laid-back episode this time. So barbecuing some pork out back, and I wanted to try something a little bit different. Ever since I went to Mexico with my family, I've had a craving for authentic carnitas from Michoacán. So I did some researching on the internet, and I actually found a really good recipe that was pretty inspirational in terms of carnitas. His name is Hank Shaw, and he's got a website called honestfood.net, so I recommend that you check it out. He has all kinds of recipes and very interesting background. But his recipe calls for a couple things that I have here. Calls for a white onion quartered, a split head of garlic. He calls for bay leaves, and he calls for orange zest from 3 oranges. So I have all that, but I want to put a little bit of my own spin. I have some fresh thyme that I've grown out back and fresh oregano, and I also want to add a couple cinnamon sticks because when you smell the cinnamon, you smell the oranges and onions and garlic, everything together, it kind of called to me a little bit. So that's what I have. I'm going to follow mostly his recipe, but I'm going to put a different spin on it as well. I'm actually going to do it in a barbecue smoke style. So I have the pork on the smoker right now as we speak. It's rolling, and I'm just getting enough smoke in there for the flavor. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do exactly what Hank Shaw suggests, and I'm going to slow cook in lard. So I'm gonna get lard and put it inside of the smoker with all of these aromatics. And it should come together very nicely and make it nice and tender. And then at the end, instead of deep frying to crisp it up like he suggests, I'm actually going to do it on my grill right over top of coals to get it nice and crispy, but continue to have that nice smoky flavor. So it's kind of a fusion idea. Never done it before. This is a first on Cheftovers. I don't know how it's going to turn out. I think it's going to be good, but I want to take you guys along on the journey with me and see what you think. Now, according to Mr. Shaw, you should use 3 quarts of lard. I'm using 2 at the moment because I don't want it to overflow, and I want to get all of my aromatics in there and just make sure that the displacement doesn't come up too close to the top. It'll fall over the edge. If you're wondering about where to get lard already made for you, go to a Mexican butcher, carniceria, and ask them for manteca, and they will give it to you. It is just pork lard, and it makes for great cooking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my ingredients one by one and just put them in just as they are, nothing fancy. This is just chopped up orange zest like I said before. I'm just going to add the quartered white onion, garlic heads, no particular order is necessary. I'm going to add all my herbs just as they are. I'm not going to tie them together in a bouquet garni or anything fancy. I'm just going to drop them straight in and just kind of let them do what they're going to do. And there you go. Now, one special ingredient that Mr. Shaw says to add that I thought was really cool is half a bottle of Mexican Coca-Cola. This is different because it's made with pure sugar, not corn syrup, and it tastes so good. And it's going to give a good flavor to these carnitas as well. So I'm going to go ahead and add half this bottle, then I'm going to drink the rest. Okay, so here I am at my smoker, one of my favorite places to be. Like I said, I'm smoking this meat first before getting it into the lard for slow cooking. I just want to take the lid off and show you that it's been smoking for about an hour, so it would absorb a lot of that smoky flavor. So check it out. Look at that. Woo. Looking good, right? Now, in the interest of time, I'm not going to go into great detail about how to use the smoker and how to get it into the meat and all the preparations that are necessary, because if you want to see that, you can check out my video on Korean Kalbi ribs. I go into a lot of informational detail there. Okay, well, the smoker has been rolling for about 3 hours now. But the interesting thing is I ran into some challenges with the heat. I couldn't get the temperature of the lard up to the proper temperature at about 200 degrees the way I'd initially set it up. So what I did was I made the decision to take the meat out and put the pot of lard where the carnitas are down on the lower chamber to get closer to the heat source, and it seems to be helping. Right now what we have is the food up top running at 210, which is fine, and then the chamber of the smoker, the result is the chamber of the smoker is a little bit higher than I like it to be for just smoking meats. I like it to be about 220, 230, but I think it's a trade-off that's worthwhile, and I'll just keep a close eye on it. And one thing I wanted to bring to your attention, the rub that I used on this is not the usual rub I use for barbecue. I just used a very simple salt and pepper based rub with a little bit of garlic and onion powder because I wanted to have a lot of the natural wood smoke, and when you taste the flavor, I just wanted that wood smoke to come through. And I also thought it would be more compatible with the carnitas because of the fact that it's a different style than American barbecue. It's Mexican, so I wanted it to be able to absorb all of those flavors that we put into the lard, as opposed to you tasting that American barbecue flavor that I typically like to do that has a lot of brown sugar. All right, so I think these have been in here long enough. The next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the ribs out and move them, set them aside so I can get to the carnitas. Let's go ahead and check inside the smoker here. All right, still seems to be going well. Good and hot, let me tell you. Gotta be careful. Yeah, look at those carnitas. Carnitas are still going strong. Nice slow boil we got going on there. I bet you they're very tender at this point. Now, you can see those carnitas are bubbling very nicely. They've been doing that for quite some time, so I think they're probably good to go. Let's see how these have turned out. Oh, they are tender, tender, jiggly. That's what we want. Look at that. It's falling apart. Oh, look at that. Fell apart. I'm just gonna take these. I'm gonna lay them on this basket. Yeah, that's what we're looking for. These are just delicious, fall apart, tender. And in line with true carnitas tradition, we want to get them crisped up around the outside, even though they're tender on the inside. And instead of doing that in the oil, as I said before, I'm going to be doing that over hot charcoals on the grill. And hopefully it'll be good and impart a nice smoky flavor. But again, my variation, we'll see what happens. All right, I'm going to come to my hot grill here that I got going. And you can see I got the coals on the side. And what I'm going to do here is going to lay these down right next to the coals. I'm going to hold it nice and steady. Hope it doesn't get too hot for me. Get it as close to the coals as I can without touching the coals. Give it a little flip here. See how this is sizzling right here? You see the bubbles? That's what you're going for. Gets it nice and crispy. Okay, so here we are inside. We got our carnitas and our ribs, and it looks delicious. I think this was a tremendous success. Everything looks very tender, and when I crisped it up on the grill, it got nice and crispy on both sides. The only thing left is to taste it, and I'll let you guys know what I think. I think it tastes fantastic. I can taste the smoke in there. I can taste the crispiness around the edges. I can taste the rub, which was just enough salt and pepper, and I can taste all those aromatics that were in the lard. And I just want to say I'm very much appreciative of Mr. Shaw for his recipe that inspired me to try this and put my own variation. Mr. Shaw, if you get a chance to see this, let me know what you think. Thank you all for watching. As always, comment, like us, subscribe to our channel, let us know what we can do for you, and I look forward to making more episodes for you.